is Chief Spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel, Mr. Oren Marmorstein. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me here on the News Hour tonight. Question on everybody's mind tonight is, was Israel prepared for the attack mounted on Israel by Iran yesterday, especially after you struck the Hezbollah leadership a few days ago?
Thank you, Navika, for having me. It's good to be here on your show. I'll start with a very simple message, that describes what is happening nowadays. We are under attack. Israel is under attack. I can share with you a personal story. Yesterday evening, my daughter, 8 years old girl, was rushed into shelter. She was petrified. She was in tears. We couldn't calm her down all night long. And this is because the state terror of Iran decided to launch more than 100 missiles, actually almost 200 missiles against cities all over Israel. This is what's happening nowadays. We are under attack. We are under an aggressive attack coming from Iran. And I want to ask you, Navika, what would you do if all of a sudden, God forbid, New Delhi was being attacked, was being bombed, was being rocketed from an enemy state, a terror state, with more than 100 missiles falling on the city of New Delhi, of Rishikesh, of Varanasi, God forbid? What will India would do? So what Israel is doing is what every other democratic country would do, trying to protect its citizens. This is what we're trying to do, and we're doing it successfully.
So let me ask you, was the attack yesterday planned on the Jewish New Year Eve, Rosh Hashanah, which is an important day for Israelis?
So yes, you're absolutely right. We're actually celebrating Rosh Hashanah, which is our New Year celebration this evening. From here, I'm heading to celebrate our big New Year's Eve festival. And of course, these terrorists, the Iranian, they don't care about religious events, and their only intention is to get as many Israelis killed, no matter what the date is, and if they can achieve a bigger catastrophe, they will do that. But we should keep in mind that it didn't start yesterday. We are almost a year now. On October 7th, it would be exactly a year under attack. First came this unprecedented, unimaginable massacre of Hamas, committing crimes, heinous crimes, sexual crimes against women, men, children were burned alive. Then the day after, Hezbollah went on the attack. All of those were completely unprovoked. Israel didn't do anything to provoke not Hamas, not Hezbollah. Later on came the Houthis. This is a terrorist organization in Yemen attacking Israel 1,800 kilometers away. We didn't do anything that has to do with Yemen. We've never been to Yemen. Yet, all of this is happening. And if you would ask me why, there's a very simple answer to it. The answer is Iran. Iran is trying to encircle Israel with a ring of fire of terrorist organization going all the way from the north, Hezbollah, a terrorist organization, moving to the militias in Syria and Iraq, moving later on to the Judea and Samaria terrorist cell, of course, Hamas in Gaza, all the way to the Houthis in Yemen. And yesterday, Iran itself directly attacked Israel. So if you are looking to find the rationality or the logic behind all of this madness, because having a 8-year-old girl, my daughter, crying all night long is a situation that I wouldn't wish for anyone. If you're trying to understand what happened, the simple answer is that the source of all of this terror, disaster, and instability is the state of terror of Iran. And the simple fact is that not only Iran is trying to terrorize Israel, not only that they are running havoc in the entire Middle East, they are also now actually intimidating and threatening and aiming at Europe itself. So if you see what the Iranians are doing when it comes to the Ukraine, they're providing arms to kill Ukrainians. So anywhere you look, this country, this mothership of terror is projecting more and more violence to the world. And the only thing that you need to do when it comes to this is to say, as the international community, enough is enough. Iran needs to pay a price.
Well, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has already said that there will be retaliation. The question is when and how?
Those are good questions, of course. And naturally, I won't go into the military details in this kind of interview. But yes, we will do whatever needed to protect the citizens of Israel, like India would do if this was the case when the people of India were attacked, like any other democratic country would do to protect their citizens. But there's another element to it. Iran went on the attack, went with this savage, more than 180 missiles attack yesterday, although many countries in the world try to do everything possible to prevent them to take this step. They didn't do that. They decided that they are pushing the envelope one more step, one more notch ahead, and by this, putting us in a more dangerous situation. And the Prime Minister said, and the Foreign Minister Katz said, we will do whatever needed to protect our families, and this is what we're doing right now.
So let me ask you, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Katz, declared that UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres was persona non grata in Israel and banned him from entering the country. Have you given up on the UN process to bring peace in the region?
We will never give up on the world. We will never give up on the international community, because as long as there are people that care about the truth, Israel's voice will be sound and will be solid and will be heard. Listen, please.
Let me also ask you, United States is possibly in the middle of the election. How much support the United States is giving you and will give in this period of elections in their own country? And how do you look at the rest of the world in terms of the positions that they're taking, different countries?
Listen, the amount of support and the very clear condemnation regarding Iran's vicious attack were really astonishing. You mentioned the United States, of course, very clear condemnation, clear support coming from Europe, from all over the world. Countries, of course, India is a very close ally and friend of Israel. And, you know, it goes back to the point that you were asking about Guterres. The Secretary General, even though there is a stark example of a country that not only call for the annihilation of another country. As you know, the Republic of Iran calls for the destruction of the state of Israel. It means that myself, my 2 daughters, my family cannot live. We won't be able to have this conversation. But they are not only calling this in vicious and wild rhetoric. They're actually trying to implement this by carrying out this attack yesterday. Nevertheless, the Secretary General couldn't find in his own words to mention Iran. So I think this describes the fact that we said this is too much. This is one bridge too far. And the foreign minister came up with a very clear message. And yes, regarding your question, we feel very strong with the support that Israel is being given regarding this attack. And I think the condemnation regarding the Iranian aggressiveness are, wherever you look, of course, I mentioned India and other places in Asia, Europe, you name it. I think the world is very, very solid in its support to Israel.
So let me ask you, Prime Minister Modi has been in touch with Prime Minister Netanyahu just about 2 days ago. And I want to ask you, what would Israel expect from India at this stage?
Thank you for this question. And I'm referring this, if I may, this question of yours, of course, to the leadership, to the government of India, but also to the people of India. Like I said, think of yourself. What would you expect your country to do if, God forbid, New Delhi, Rishikesh, Varanasi, all those beautiful cities of India were attacked with hundreds of missiles? I think what the people of India would expect, I know that this is what the people of Israel is expecting, for the country to provide security. So this is what we're trying to do. And what we are asking our friends in the entire world, and of course our good friends in India, support us in this cause. And more specifically, now is the time to put more pressure on Iran, because this is the source of not only instability in the Middle East, but instability in the entire world. So now is the time to put more sanctions, more crippling sanctions on Iran to stop their crazy race for atomic bomb. And now is the time to proscribe, to designate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and to call them for what they are, the biggest terror organization in the world. They need to be designated as a terror organization. This is what we're asking the people and the government of India.
So let me ask you in the end, Mr. Oren, what would you say to those countries who have been critical of Israel's position, who have said that you attacked the Hezbollah leadership and that you've been against human rights? Pakistan former Prime Minister Imran Khan has even said the positions of Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah and Ismail Haniya are very high in the eyes of God as they sacrifice their lives in the defense of their countries. What message would you like to give countries like these and critics like these?
The message is very clear. Israel wants to have peace. On a personal level, I want to see a future in which the two daughters of mine are growing up in a different reality, that they can visit cities all over the Middle East. I want them to grow up in a peaceful environment with their friends from the Palestinian community, from Lebanese community, from Syrian community, from all over. I want them to live in a future of peace. But for those people who are saying, those critics, and I think foundless, a completely, I would say, ridiculous accusation, I would tell them, look at the picture, look at the facts. The people, the organization who started this war were Hamas on October 7th and Hezbollah on October 8th. We didn't want to have this war. Navika, I didn't want to be here and to explain to you how it's like to rush an 8-year-old girl to a shelter. This is not what we're hoping for ourselves. This war was forced on us. But if this war was forced on us, we are forced to win it. And you know why? Because we don't have any other choice. We will win this war because we don't have any other choice except to win this war and to continue to live here, and God willingly, to build a future of peace.
Well, clearly, with your backs to the wall, it is a choice, as you said, many countries would make. But in the end, Mr. Oren, Israel's stand has been that Iran did not make any distinction between military establishments and civilian targets. Will you make a distinction when you strike back?
Of course, always, always. Israel operates only in accordance to international law. Full stop. Every civilian life that is taken is a tragedy, no matter where. I don't think you will hear people in Iran, in Gaza, in Beirut, using the words that I'm using right now. I'm telling you, every civilian life that is taken is a tragedy. But the big difference is not only the fact that they're not saying this. The big difference is that these terror organizations, like Hezbollah, like Hamas, are committing a double war crime. Not only that they are fighting and shooting at my daughters, they are hiding behind their own daughters. They are putting the people, the terrorists in Hezbollah, in Hamas, they are putting rockets, missiles in living rooms, in kitchens. What kind of people are doing this? I'm asking you. So yes, we're doing everything possible to aim and to direct our fire only to terrorists. The terrorists are doing everything possible to hit our children. This is the big difference.
Well, wars are never comfortable. Wars clearly have always come with a price tag, and most often that price tag is human lives. We hope that human lives can be saved, civilian lives can be saved, and we do hope whatever you decide to do as a sovereign nation, God be with you and God be with all those who are fighting for their rights. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Mr. Oren, for joining me. And on a personal note, much love to your daughters and to daughters of Israel, children in Israel, who clearly don't deserve to see a war and grow up in the atmosphere of war and missiles knocking on their doors. Clearly not something that any child should have to see.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Navika, for your warm words. And God willingly, my daughters and the daughters here in the Middle East will be able to live in a different reality, in a peaceful reality. God willingly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oren, for joining me on the news.